Hello, I'm Zach Wall, and today we're going to be discussing the article Contribute to an Ethical Culture in the Strategic Finance magazine. This article was kind of came about because of a report from Deloitte, and then they also interviewed the vice president of finance at Gig Wage, Robert Belsky. So, moving on, in the beginning, they talk about biases and how we need to be careful with our biases as we create an ethical culture within a company. They reference four different biases. The first being historical bias, which is just kind of like hey, this is how we've always done things. This is what we're going to stick with. The second is the narrow focus, basically just not willing to see the big picture, just kind of one-track minded there. The next would be optimism bias, just being confident in what they know, or how outcomes are going to be. And the final one being the expert bias, meaning you act as the expert, or you're taking the word of someone that may be an expert, but you don't actually do any of the vetting with that, as you're starting to create this culture and everything. So moving on to the next slide, they continue on to talk about setting the tone of an ethical culture, within a business. And in setting that tone, it needs to start at the top with management. Management, they say that employees in the article, Belsky has a few different things that we'll reference here. One of them is that he says that employees and stakeholders are intuitively dialed into inconsistency. And so, he also says it's important for management to embody the values and ethics that they set. So, it's kind of that lead by example. If your employees don't see you doing what you say that you're going to do, then they're not going to want to follow suit. The management needs to communicate their standards. They need to set the tone. They need to put those rules in place, but also act outside of those rules and set that example that we just do what's right always. And by doing that, you'll practice, the next part, practice what you preach. Again, those employees are going to see that. They're going to want to follow suit. And those that don't will eventually, they won't last very long. And then the final slide, ethics, it's more than just following rules. It's doing what's right. It's, it's having that moral compass to always want to do the best in every situation. And they reference in the article that we often see companies having to deal with repercussions of doing something that maybe wasn't illegal, but down the road they've got to deal with the repercussions of doing something when they could have done what was right that way. So it's a great article, and I recommend it. It will be included in the notes below as well. Thank you very much.